Hey there. Well, today what I'm up to is looking things over earlier. One of the things that I noticed is the rubber bands are coming loose on this pawpaw that I had grafted. Not all of them, but some of them. I've been replacing them as time goes. And get more care to what it is that I've been doing. Brought me a stool so I can sit down here and really get into it and not bend over and hurt my back, because I am getting older. This was a pawpaw that I had grafted earlier this year, and it was an overlease, grafted on the 16th of May. As you know, I like to put rubber bands on these to make that union tight, but what's happened is the rubber bands are already starting to fray. Not all of them, because I've replaced a few of them already. And I put the rubber bands on there to squeeze those unions together and make a better connection between the cambiums. And what I decided to do today is come out here and fix that problem. We got some fresh rubber bands here, and I'm only going to need half of that rubber band. The other half I'll stick up here because I'm going to use it elsewhere. Hold that knife back up. That's a pretty sharp knife. Just set that down right there. You know, this has been a whirlwind for me dealing with pawpaws. I enjoy dealing with these pawpaws, as you all know, and I want to make sure everything that I'm doing works out. Maybe I'm a little bit of a fanatic about what it is I'm doing, but I want it to work. And so far, this little tree right here is doing pretty good. Trying to be nimble and careful with what I'm doing. Let's tie that off. Dealing with these rubber bands sometimes can be tricky, but this one right here is really come loose. And I want that union to stay tight, tighter than what it's showing right now. There's another one that's frayed and come loose. And one right there, and one right here. This wrap right here, or this particular graft right here, that's an inlay, a small inlay graft. I didn't have a scion big enough to match up with that particular piece of stock, so I elected this year, let's do some inlay grafts to see if I can get my results that I want. Let's tie that one off. Oh, let's see here. That near's come loose. The sun is really decayed. This was grafted on the 16th of May. I like to see the rubber bands remain in place for about 2 months. I'm going to have to put a piece of parafilm across the top of that. It's cracking loose at the very top of that inlay, and I don't want that stem to dry completely out. It needs to stay as fresh as long as possible. You can see how easy that was tied off, and the tie-off part broke loose. Got another piece of rubber band here. You know what? Actually, got a little piece right here hanging that I changed over yesterday. Let's see if we can get this one here to work. It's a smaller piece of rubber band, but I think it'll work. We can get around to the side here where I can work on it. This too is an inlay graft. There we go. And yet one more to go right here. See how loose that came off there? Don't like that. I want that graft to stay tight and keep that union in place. That right there was a tongue and whip graft. Don't like to see them rubber bands be too long when I'm wrapping because it makes it harder to tie them off. If I got a shorter tag in, it makes it easier for me to tie it off. So let's go ahead and slide them. Get it back in place here. I like to try and stay on top of these grafts. Like I said, I like for that rubber band to be on there for about 2 months. And then I'll take them off so we don't girdle. But this year, I'm having problems with the rubber bands fraying earlier. Let me unwrap that. I gotta. There we go. Take it down further where that union is. I was bringing that rubber band up too high. Back off tab. Got the cat bothering me now. See how short that tag end is? It gives me the ability to work with it much easier. They're tricky, but you know what? For as many wraps I've done, I've gotten used to doing these wraps and tying that rubber band off. Overleese. Got some good growth. There's a cleft graft. There's a cleft graft. A cleft graft. And another cleft. Only got one tongue and whip in this tree right here because of how the scion was and the size of the stalk itself. You got a little green coming off the bottom there. There's another piece of green. Got to stay on top of taking care of these little boogers. But anywho, Overleese. Let's just hope this little tree produces itself and does something. Sure would be a shame if it didn't make it. I like to try and keep these rubber bands, especially on these inlay grafts, because they're going to be more easily to fall off on a good windy day. And I'll probably take a little piece of bamboo when it takes off and brace these inlays with a little tiny piece of bamboo stick just to make sure that they hold together and the wind don't blow them off. But for now, the rubber bands will hold them in place as they grow. We'll go up to the house and get some paraffin put across the top of this one right here because the parafilm decayed and it's got an opening there. I want to keep that covered up on the end. I don't want it to die out too quickly. Give that scion enough time to take off, which you can see the buds are coming out. The inlays are taking a little bit longer. But out of 3 inlays, I'm only working 2 buds at a time on these scions. And there's 3 inlays. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 out of 3 buds are cracking out of the parafilm. I hope that's not just the energy that's in the scion itself, but hopefully that tree is feeding those scions. Anyways, just something that I want to share with you. My name's Jim. If you like what you see, subscribe. Hit that save button, by the way. See what it does. I have no idea. Y'all have a God bless day.